quite a long run down into Copse Corner. So if one of you gets a good start and the car alongside doesn't, you could see some positions changing. Here we go then. Red lights go on. Red lights go out now. We're away and racing at Silverstone. Good start made by the pole. And Williams will chop immediately over to the right-hand side of the road to cover from George Robinson, who will try and generate some momentum maybe through Copse Corner and have a go down into Maggots and Beckett for the first time. Through the right-hander they go, and Nathan Williams and George Robinson clear out in front. But here, I think already is coming the first challenge from Robinson. He's looking to the inside line as we head down towards Maggots and Beckett. They are indeed side by side, and Robinson on that inside line. Is he going to go through into the race lead? Yes, he does. So Robinson immediately manages to get that better run out of Copse, got to the inside at Beckett's, and now he is punching the hole in the air for Nathan Williams to try and benefit from maybe down the Wellington straight. That's exactly what's happening. Look, Nathan Williams pulls out of the slipstream, goes to the outside line, and as we hit the brakes into Brooklands, he's going to try and go right round the outside maybe of his big championship rival. That's exactly what he's going to try and do, but desperately late on the brakes is Robinson, who really wants to try and hold on to that track position advantage. It's Garcia in third, Hayward fourth, Bradley fifth, and Neil in sixth. So they're all still in grid order. It's only really the top two who have changed position, and it is George Robinson then, it looks like, who's going to lead the opening lap of the race. Nathan Williams, though, ducks into that slipstream again. See there from the onboard camera visibly how that benefits him through Woodcote Corner. Shown the outside line into Copse Corner. That's not really the place that you want to be. Maybe better to try and get that switchback. Try and do to Robinson what he did to him a lap ago. And that's exactly what happens. He's up the inside line. Someone, I think that was Dalton Hayward, going way wide, and there is a slide. That's Harley Connolly going around. Harley Connolly with a spin out of Copse Corner, and just gently grazes the barrier, but no major harm done. Front of the field it is Nathan Williams back out in front, so that's two lead changes already. As further back, James Pepper takes advantage of a Louis Neal mistake at Beckett's corner to pick up 7th place. So Louis Neal starting to slip down the order slightly. Now, at the front of the pack, look what's happening. Adrian Rios Garcia is on the tail of George Robinson. So Robinson led, then he lost the lead again at the start of lap 2, and now he's having to defend a little bit because other drivers are using that slipstream to well and truly buy into this lead battle. Got 5 of them really in a line. Williams, Robinson, Garcia, Hayward, and Bradley. With a bit of a gap back then to William Antrobus. You can just see in the mirrors the sort of dark yellow, gold, and black car. Riding on board though with Dalton Hayward as we head past the pits, and this looks like being a typical Ginetta Junior race, doesn't it really? The race leader goes through, then Nathan Williams with a half a second cushion over George Robinson. But Robinson with a much neater line look through Copse Corner. The race leader runs out wide, and we've got to be careful doing that. You can easily pick up a penalty for exceeding track limits, and well, they seem to gain out of that, you'd have to say. Dalton Hayward with a slightly strange line into Maggots and Beckett's there as he tries to stay on terms with Adrian Rios Garcia ahead, but Garcia dropping away slightly now from the top 2. Actually, Nathan Williams with a little bit of breathing space over George Robinson, so that was an important move that he made to get the lead back again at the start of lap 2. Here comes William Antrobus. He's up the inside of Liam Bradley now, and that is for 5th position. Slips up the inside at Brooklands. Does now move into the top 5. So William Antrobus 4th in the points, had 1 podium finish so far this season. That was a 2nd place, but yet to have a race victory, and he's going to have to go some to get one in this race. A little side-by-side exchange between these two, though, has just dropped them away from the leading quartet and perhaps back into the clutches now of Louis Neal, James Pepper. You've got Henriksen as well in there, Albert Henriksen Bell, all in a long line. Not a million miles behind this group of cars, which all runs quite wide out of Copse Corner. The fastest lap for Robinson, by the way, as he tries to chase after Nathan Williams, but Williams pulling the pin slightly now. He's 8/10 up the road. So quite surprising to see the ability to pull away, really, at the front of the pack. Slipstream not quite powerful enough to allow Robinson to stick with Williams. This battle, though, continuing on as now Bradley does look like he's struggling, doesn't he? Louis Neal coming up to challenge. Now, Neal did start a bit further up the order than this. He's trying to make amends for that. Looks at the inside, sideways for Bradley. Gathers it together, but runs out of road. And Liam Bradley bounces his way back on the circuit. 1 place further down the order than he was, though. Just a bit too late on the brakes there. Tried to carry a bit too much speed into the left-hander at Brooklands. The rear of the car stepped out on him. Good hands, though, to save the slide. And here, Hayden Gray is chasing after Luke Armstrong now. Harley Connolly a little detached from this group, and he's not the only one actually. A couple of others, Oliver Newton and Finn Richardson, also a bit further back than they'd like to be. They're all kind of having a private battle away from the lead pack after some earlier dramas. Right on board with Hayden Gray, you can see the different interpretations there of track limits coming out of Copse Corner, and Hayden Gray, a different interpretation of the breaking point at Beckett's. That was a lovely move. And oh, there's carnage ahead. That's Bradley around, isn't it? That is Bradley and Henriksen Bell, who have both collided coming out of Beckett's corner. So not quite sure what happened there, but both of them rejoining, and they will now join that group of cars at the back to have had dramas. Hayden Gray perhaps delayed somewhere as well, although he's going to have another lunge up the inside at Brooklands, and that's going to end in a spin, surely. Well, again, oh no, he has lost it. Gets the wheel on the grass, and around he goes. And he's now sat in a very precarious position as well to get himself off the track, and gets back underway again. But Hayden Gray just a little erratic under braking there, and that's the last thing you want to be around here. You've got to be smooth in these cars, especially around a circuit like Silverstone, and can't be jabbing at the pedals or twitching away on the steering wheel. You've got to be nice and smooth with your inputs going into the turns, out of the turns, particularly corner entry. They're very easy to unsettle, these cars, under braking. So Adrian Rios Garcia then sat in third position. See those top two just continuing to get away from him, but also continuing to separate from each other, really, which is a bit of a disappointment. We wanted to see a good battle between these two, but you can't deny Nathan Williams' ability here out in front of the field to just pull a gap and get away from the driver behind. Out of Beckett's goes Albert Henriksen Bell. Part of the circuit where it all went wrong for him a lap ago. Hayden Gray there just ahead of him as he winds his way down the Wellington Straight. Nathan Williams looking to try and do at the front of the field exactly what he did in the first race at Donington a week ago, and just break away from the rest of the pack whilst they all battle behind. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. This is again that group of drivers who have all had dramas in this race, and there are more of them now gathering at the back of the field. So you've got Oliver Newton in 12th place, Hayden Gray just ahead of us 13th, and Albert Henriksen Bell 14th place in the slipstream. Newton making no attempt there to hit the apex through Woodcote Corner. That is going to slow him down, I think, down into Copse. So Hayden Gray sees a chance, goes up the inside, slips through, but outbrakes himself. And they both run wide, and Albert Henriksen Bell says, "Thank you very much, I'll get up the inside." Oh, Newton tried to come over to the right-hand side of the road. He finds himself getting pinched in the middle, 3 wide now, but Henriksen Bell's already cleared them both. Lovely stuff that from Albert Henriksen Bell, who has gone through into 12th place. We know he should be a bit quicker than these drivers anyway, based on qualifying form. Living up to that potential at the moment. So they head down the Wellington Straight. Already heading out of Luffield is William Antrobus as he dices away with Dalton Hayward. This is for 4th position. And Dalton Hayward slipping away from the top 3. Again, a 10.5 quicker that time as Nathan Williams than George Robinson behind. So the gap's over a second now as Antrobus has a peek to the inside of Copse Corner. Oh, he didn't fully commit. There's a bit of a touch. They're both going to get sideways. No, they're both off the road. Oh, and along comes Louis Neal as well. And oh, someone else collecting him. That's James Pepper getting into the spinning Dalton Hayward. And that's, oh dear me, well, that was all a bit messy and a little bit unnecessary, you'd have to say. And they're going to keep on losing places. Harley Connolly now coming steaming through. But Antrobus and Dalton Hayward there, just contact was very avoidable, really, wasn't it? And let's hope their cars aren't too badly damaged and they can at least salvage something out of the race, because that was looking like a good battle. They have at least both rejoined exactly where they were, basically battling with each other just a few places further back. So we at least get to see the battle resumed. But I think maybe there might be a little bit of bad blood now between these two. Down through Brooklands they go, and Antrobus gets through cleanly. Dalton Hayward now sits in behind, and then, well, Antrobus in fact immediately tries to get up the inside of Harley Connolly. Now remember, Harley spun going out of Copse Corner on the second lap of the race. He was stone dead last at one point, and he's into 7th place now as other people have started to have trouble. So Harley Connolly was not lost despite that early drama. We're only halfway through the race, and he's started to pick his way back through the order quite nicely. His next target will be Luke Armstrong, and he is, well, some 5.5 seconds up the road, so that will take some doing. Then in 5th place, Kira Harris, who didn't race last time at Donington Park, but she's having a good run in the top 5. There she is. And the driver who seemingly races under a Canadian flag comes out of Beckett's corner with Luke Armstrong right on her tail. So good battle this now for the last place within the top 5. Armstrong's going to, again, carry that speed down the Wellington straight to the outside line, gets his nose ahead, but who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Into Brooklands corner, on board with Kira Harris. She's slightly later, and she's got the shorter run through the turn, and that's going to mean that she gets that 5th place straight back again. So typical Silverstone racing, that between the two of them. Good, clean racing as well, which is what we like to see. Now, bear that comment in mind as we cut back to what looks like a very adventurous battle going on further back. Albert Henricks and Bell trying to get back ahead of James Pepper, whilst Hayden Gray keeps a watching brief in behind. Pepper with a very odd line out of Luffield. Almost seemed to get a bit of oversteer there as he was on the throttle coming out of the right-hander. And again, hugs the inside line out of Woodcote corner, not wanting to leave an opening on the right-hand side of the road into Copse, but that might not stop Henricks and Bell from just trying to go around the outside. No, that's not going to work. So cuts back in behind, picks up that slipstream maybe, or actually pulls out of the slipstream very early. Had such a good exit from Copse that he's already got the overlap, and he might have bought himself a ticket to the inside line here. Through Maggots. No, Pepper just manages to get back in front of him. Of course, Henricks and Bell's got to be careful of Hayden Gray behind. Pepper runs wide, though, and that will give Henricks and Bell surely the opportunity now to draw level down the Wellington straight. But where did Hayden Gray go in all of that? He's picking up a double slipstream. And he might well try and make this 3 wide before we get into the braking zone. Well, he goes to the inside of James Pepper, but just at the moment that Henriksen cleared Pepper, so we're not 3 wide, but Pepper is going to lose 2 places here, I think. Certainly one to Henricks and Bell, and, well, no, Hayden Gray can't complete the pass, and now he finds himself on the outside into Luffield corner on board with Pepper. Very close to a little bit of paint being traded there, but they just kept it clean, I reckon. Wide line for Gray keeps him ahead. More momentum on the exit of the corner from going around the outside. And he will move back ahead of James Pepper again. Front of the field, by the way, you're not missing anything. 2.1 seconds now between Nathan Williams and George Robinson. So George Robinson is fading more and more, actually, now with every lap. Oh, as James Pepper nearly loses control at the exit of Copse corner. And, just dip 2 wheels out onto the AstroTurf, which, as in real life, does not yield a huge amount of grip. So, did well to gather that together. Fastest corner on the track. Copse, not a place that you want to suddenly have a car snapping sideways on you. As Harley Connolly discovered earlier in the race when he had his spin there, but he's running in a solid 8th place now. William Antrobus ahead of him now. I think that's a change, perhaps, since we were last catching up with those drivers. But as the race leaders make their way through, Copse again, George Robinson doing his best to give chase, but just can't quite keep up. He's every lap at least a 10th, and actually on the previous lap 3/10 slower than Nathan Williams. Adrian Rios-Garcia there in 3rd position. Louis Neal 4th. Luke Armstrong has now got 5th place, so ahead of Kira Harris. So Kira down to 6th, but sticking with him. But look, they're both being caught, aren't they, by Antrobus and Connolly behind. So this could become a 4-way scrap before much longer. Kira there just running a bit wide over the runoff area, and Luke actually picking up some of the grass coming off Beckett's. Slowing down one bit though, and he starts now to scorch away from Kira Harris down into Brooklands corner. The brakes, see again the different lines there. That's where that wider line is maybe the line I would prefer to take. You saw that Luke Armstrong took the tight line and just tightened the steering up a bit too much going into the apex, lost the rear of the car, and now he's a bit too eager on the throttle through Luffield corner as well. So a couple of mistakes creeping in here for Luke Armstrong. As he tries to break away from Kira Harris, that will be giving Kira some hope maybe that 5th place could once again become hers. We've got just over 5 minutes to go. Kira Harris being caught rapidly, both of these being caught rapidly in fairness, by Harley Connolly and William Antrobus behind. So it's a question of whether Harris will catch Armstrong first or whether she'll be overhauled by Antrobus. I suspect it might be the latter of those options. On board now with Antrobus in 7th, as again Luke runs very wide up in the distance. Did he make the corner? I think he did, but he lost a lot of time as a result. That bunches them all back together, and Antrobus will now pick up a slipstream, heading down into the back end of the Wellington Straight. But he's not going to be close enough. That slipstream effect not quite as powerful as he'd have liked, as he rolls his way through Brooklands. Much more mid-corner speed, though. Sees a gap up the inside into Luffield, and there's contact, and around goes Antrobus again. Now, I have to say, from the on-board footage, I couldn't really see an awful lot that William did wrong there. Don't think Kira expected him to go for that gap, but he was perfectly entitled to do so. He made the apex, and unfortunately, he was the one who came out of that worst. So he drops back behind Harley Connolly and Dalton Hayward and Liam Bradley, as Kira actually is coming back now at Luke Armstrong for 5th place. So this has really changed around the dynamic of this battle. Luke again wide, even wider actually than he went last lap, and that I think is going to invite Kira straight through into 5th spot. Yes, it does. So Kira Harris back into the top 5. Luke Armstrong, I don't think I've seen him hit an apex in about 2.5 laps. He's really charging off into the corners. Suddenly, Harley Connolly could be on course to benefit from all of this as well. Could even get a top 5 after a spin at the start of the 2nd lap. That would be a remarkable fight back. A result that I think he would have taken if you'd have offered it to him at the early part of the race. Lock up there on the inside for Luke Armstrong as he nips back ahead of Kira Harris, who's going to try and come back at him now into Luffield, and ironically gets the same treatment nearly that she gave to Antrobus a lap ago. Thankfully this time contact and loss of control is averted, and she slams the door in the face of Harley Connolly, who gives her a little bump draft through Woodcote Corner. That's fair enough really in Ginetta Junior Racing. It actually helps Kira, it gives her the extra boost of momentum that she needed to get back alongside Luke Armstrong. And she's going to try and slide back through at Copse Corner. Harley Connolly played that to perfection, though. He sort of pushed Kira into that move, which delayed both of the cars ahead, and he's going to sweep past the pair of them. So Luke Armstrong up from Harley Connolly up from 7th to 5th place. So Harris gets ahead of Armstrong again, but immediately loses a spot. Might now get a chance to get it back though, because Harley Connolly runs very wide going out of Beckett's corner, and that's going to give Kira the run underneath the bridge. Again, she's forced to go the long way round. Can go right round the outside at Brooklands, but requires a lot of room to be left by the car on your inside. They all really clamber that curve on the inside line, and again Kira's left the door open and just turns across the nose of Luke Armstrong. If you're going to leave the door open going into Luffield, you have to expect people to try and fill that gap. And, at some point I can see that ending in contact again. Hope not. We've got a minute and 40 to go, so at least 2 more laps remaining. And the race leader now, Nathan Williams, by 3.1 seconds over Robinson 2nd, Garcia 3rd, Louis Neal 4th place now. Good recovery drive this from him. Harley Connolly 5th, Kira Harris 6th, Luke Armstrong 7th, Dalton Hayward 8th, ahead of William Antrobus 9th, and Liam Bradley in 10th place. This then is the fight for 11th place. Albert Henriksen Bell hasn't really recovered in quite the way I expected him to. Maybe his car's got some damage after the contact earlier on. But this part of the circuit, Hayden Gray sat in behind him right now as they head down the Wellington Straight. That is Oliver Newton having a spin, or recovering from a spin, at Copse Corner, as there Luke Armstrong again wayward through Brooklands Corner, and an even more wayward moment for Dalton Hayward, who, well, will be ruining this race really, won't he? It was a race that could have yielded a podium finish maybe, but he's now slipped back down to 10th place after that latest moment that he's had at Brooklands Corner. Luke Armstrong drops away from Kira Harris slightly as a result of his slide as well. We do now go on to the final lap of the race, and Nathan Williams, with that 3.1 second cushion, just been counting down the laps really, waiting for the checkered flag to fly. all of the action's been behind him, but of course he and Robinson and Garcia, they're all going to have to pick their way through that mess in race number 2 because it is a full reversed grid. So out of Luffield corner he will come then. Nathan Williams with Oliver Newton ahead, actually about to put a lap on Oliver after Newton's spin. And Oliver, is he going to get out of the way? I don't think he is. He's a bit slower through Woodcote, but I don't think Nathan Williams is going to pass him before the line, where the checkered flag awaits. And for a third time this season, it is a victory for Nathan Williams. Nathan Williams gets some crucial points back against the championship leader George Robinson, who does still finish in second place. Third place then for Adrian Rios Garcia, and fourth position should go the way eventually of Louis Neal. He's going to make his way out of Woodcote corner now. There he goes. He had a pretty lonely race in the end, but fourth place is where he's going to end up. And then Harley Connolly we're expecting next. Here he comes. What a great drive that from Harley. I know he was a bit lucky with other people having their own issues, but still, to come from a spin at the start of the race to finish in the top 5 is not bad going. Kira Harris 6th, and then right on the line, look, Luke Armstrong just pipping William Antrobus to 7th position. So Antrobus nearly got past him, but in the end it was Armstrong 7th, Antrobus 8th, Liam Bradley 9th, and Albert Henriksen Bell completing the top 10. So that is race number 1 of the evening done. And as I said, we will have that second race still to come a little bit later on with the full reversed grid, but a fantastic drive from Nathan Williams, who claims the win with George Robinson in second position and Adrian in third place. So yeah, good stuff there from all of our top 3 drivers who we really didn't see a lot of in that race, but that's not always a bad thing. And we do already have, I think, some of the drivers filtering into the commentary box. So let's start our post-race interviews with our race winner, Nathan Williams. Nathan, congratulations. That went pretty much exactly to plan, wasn't it? You said that you wanted to build a gap, pull away at the front of the field, and that's exactly what you were able to do. Were you surprised at quite how easily you were able to break the draft there and pull away?
Yeah, it's quite. I think George is just slightly pushing the car too much, and just again some slight oversteer, which pushed him off the circuit and just lost a bit of time.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers in that race actually struggling on corner entry. Talk us through the way that you have to drive these cars then to get them into a corner, like, for example, Brooklands at the end of the back straight, without losing control, because a lot of drivers really seem to be struggling with that.
Well, sometimes you just have to delay your downshift a bit, or it's also a possibility to lip the throttle, just to save the rear a bit and stop you going into a spin.
So you make that sound very, very easy. I'm sure most of us would find it a bit of a challenge, but you certainly seem to have figured it out. An important race win there. You've got to now try and do the double, haven't you, in a way? If you can win the race, then great, but if absolutely nothing else, you've got to try and beat your big championship rival again in race 2, but it all becomes a lot less easy to manage when it's a reversed grid.
Yes, I think the goal is just to get through the field as quick as possible. You try and avoid any risks in spinning out again like last round, and then after that I think it's obviously hopefully get the win and break George's streak of second race wins.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Well, Nathan, congratulations. Perfect start to your evening. Best of luck for race 2.
Thank you.
So Nathan Williams then with the race 1 victory, as we heard, outscoring the championship leader George Robinson. But George joins us now in the commentary box as well. And, well, some good points scored, at least, George. But I'm sure you're a bit disappointed that you weren't quite able to go with Nathan there and take the fight to him.
Yeah, if I hadn't made so many mistakes, I think I probably could have taken the fight to him towards the end, and then it would have been a close race.
Would you agree with his assessment then that maybe you were pushing a bit too hard to try and keep up, or is there something in the handling of the car that you're just not quite happy with?
Probably just downshifting a bit too early, causing the rear to slide.
Which you've got to be really gentle with, of course, to try and get through the corners without losing time and, crucially, losing momentum. It's a real momentum circuit, this one, and that's going to be key in race 2 when it comes to overtaking as well. We saw in that first race the slipstream isn't quite as powerful as perhaps some of us thought it would be, so what's the game plan in this second race? You've got to try and make some progress, but it's not going to be easy to do.
Probably keep Nathan behind as much as I can and work my way through the pack whilst keeping Nathan behind.
Okay, well, if it's as easy as you make it sound, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. But George, congratulations on that second place finish and best of luck for race 2.
Thank you.
So they were your top 2 finishers, both of them familiar figures on the podium, but our third place driver made his first appearance on the podium in that race. Adrian Rios Garcia joins us now, and Adrian, well done. You must be really happy to have got that first podium of the season.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I have been practicing a lot to have this good time.
Yeah, it is one of those tracks that you have to really, really practice, isn't it? Because it looks very simple, but it's quite a difficult track, this.
Yeah, it could be difficult in the curves because you can go out.
And you're going to be in a big pack of cars now in race 2. Are you excited for this reversed grid race?
No, I think I'm going to do good being in the big pack of cars.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that second race and congratulations on that first podium. Hopefully the first of many.
Thanks.
So Adrian Rios Garcia then third position, and he is, as you can hear, very happy to have made it onto the podium.